Hey you guys, this is Jovonnta Murphy. Jovonnta Murphy was Pop Smoke's friend, and he too died. He was murdered. His death is connected to Pop Smoke's death. And let me tell you why. So what I saw today was how he died, Jovonnta Murphy. So what I'm seeing is it looks like he's at a public place at like a park. I'm not sure where he's at, but I know it's public, broad daylight. It's broad daylight, okay? But he's walking the sidewalk looking down at his phone. He was looking at his phone. And he was laughing, so I'm thinking he's looking at a video or something. But he's looking at his phone. At that point, when he's looking down and looking at his phone, two cops pull up on him. These two cops, you guys may remember, I described them to you in the Pop Smoke death video that I described. These two cops was the one that Pop Smoke was shocked by. He was the tall one, and he is also the one that Pop Smoke knew somehow. He was very familiar to Pop Smoke because Pop Smoke was shocked. You? So it's him. And then the other cop that pulled up on Jovonnta Murphy was the same cop that revealed his mask first to Pop Smoke. He's the one that was searching for something. He's the one that shot Pop Smoke second. Okay? Remember I told you the first cop, there was a cop that shot him first in the abdomen, but he was quiet. Remember him? He wasn't there on the day that Jovonnta Murphy died. He had nothing to do with that death. The one that shot Pop Smoke. Okay? So we got that clear. So we got the tall cop, and then we're going to call this one the hyper cop. The one that's too hyper. Or too trigger happy. The trigger happy cop and tall cop. Okay? We got that? Okay. So the tall cop and trigger happy cop is interrogating Jovonnta. They're asking him questions about Pop Smoke death. They're trying to get something out of him. They want to know his part, like where he was. Like they're just trying to plant him there. It's like they try to use him as a fallout guy, from my understanding, how I'm looking at it from a third person point of view. Jovonnta is just looking at it, they're trying to accuse him as a suspect, and he's like, no, that's my brother, that's my friend, I had nothing to do with his death. And he's basically defending himself, and they keep like trying to like coerce him to admit something, and he's basically telling him I had nothing to do with this. And at that point, I see there was an elderly woman looking, because she's seeing these two cops interrogating Jovonnta Murphy, and there was a male figure saw the same thing, that there's two cops interrogating this person, and the cops noticed that, so they noticed that they have people looking because they're in broad daylight. So what they decided to do is act like they are arresting Jovonnta Murphy. So they put him in handcuffs, and they put him behind their the back seat of their vehicle, the vehicle that looked like a SUV or some type of one of those FBI cars. It wasn't your regular police cars, okay, that you could just tell, that's a police car. It wasn't that. It was one of those black tinted SUV cars, okay? So he was in the back seat of that vehicle. So now I'm inside the vehicle, and I'm seeing what's going on. So the trigger happy cop is in the driver's seat, and the tall cop is in the passenger seat. They didn't start the car is not moving. They just started to talk to Jovonnta, like, again, pressuring him, asking questions, what's happening, what's going on. Trigger happy cop then pull out a picture of Pop Smoke, and he placed it on one of those I forgot what it's called, but he placed it on one of the thing on the car for him to look at. And at this point, Jovonnta is handcuffed, and he's looking, and when he saw Pop Smoke body, he just started breaking down, and he started crying like nah, why did they do it? Like, he was just basically saying, like, whoever did that to Pop Smoke he did not understand why they would do something like that, because he did not deserve that. He wasn't that type of person. He was a good person. He kept saying that he was so excited about the music thing. He was so happy. He didn't deserve that, man. He didn't deserve that. He just kept saying that, and he's kept looking at the picture of Pop Smoke body. And then the trigger happy cop, well, like they both got quiet when they saw him break down, and then they looked at each other, and then the tall cop is just looked the other way. The trigger happy cop was looking at this rearview mirror, looking at Jovonnta in the back seat, and Jovonnta is still looking at the picture and just like shaking his head, and tears going down his eyes. He's just like shaking his head. Again, he's still handcuffed, okay? And then at that point, trigger happy cop, his eyes, it's like he just became serious, right? He just became like, okay, he's not admitting nothing. Like, he's not explaining anything. We can't place him there. It's like, I don't know what he's thinking at this point, but at that moment, they knew that they couldn't plant him as the suspect because of how much you could tell that he's grieving over Pop Smoke's death, how much you could tell that he cares about him. So they said they realized that they couldn't use him. Tall cop is just like looking this way, and then all of a sudden Tall cop is like, nah, you had something to do with this. And he's like, no, that ain't me. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know why you trying to pin it on me. I had nothing to do with it. He kept pleading his case like, nah, I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can try to do anything, try to like, no, I had nothing to do with it, and I can defend myself. So Jovonnta Murphy was basically telling them like, nah, I don't care what you guys say. I had nothing to do with it. Like, he was just like, I don't care what you do. You can take it to the police station, and I would still defend myself. I had nothing to do with it. That's what he kept saying. And then that's when they knew, like, okay, this is not going to go anywhere. He's going to fight it and whatever. So Tall Cop is like shaking his head like, oh God. And then Trigger Happy Cop is quiet, serious, his eyes. He kept looking at the rearview mirror and looking at Jovonnta. Jovonnta is looking back at him like, what's going on? What y'all finna do? Like, y'all gonna take me to the police station? What's happening? And then the Trigger Happy Cop just stayed quiet. He looked at the tall cop. The tall cop looked at him. And then the tall cop just got the car. I guess the tall cop thought the Trigger Happy Cop wanted him to release him. So the tall cop got out the car and opened the back seat, about to release Jovonnta. But when he tried to open the back seat, it didn't open. Trigger Happy Cop locked the back door. And the tall cop like banged on the back on the window, like, hey, open the door. And then Trigger Happy Cop he's like, no. So tall cop hurried up, went back in the passenger seat, closed the door, and looked at him. And the Trigger Happy Cop looked at him, and they both looked at each other. He's like, and Jovonnta in the back seat is like, what the heck is going on? And that's when Trigger Happy Cop started the car, and he started to drive. He just started to drive. They drove out. So Jovonnta, I believe he's just thinking that they take him to the police station. Somehow I'm seeing that we ended up in some type of mechanical shop or some type of shop that they fix cars in. Okay, so we're in this car. We're in this shop. The car is in the shop as well. Jovonnta is still in the back seat, right? But he can see, like, he's at some type of mechanical shop. He can still see outside the car. And somehow the Trigger Happy Cop, tall cop, got out the car. I see in the corner, Trigger Happy Cop is talking to a big man. He have a mohawk. His hair is shaved, and he had like a mohawk, one of those mohawk buns. I don't know what type of hairstyle that is, but I know he's a bigger gentleman. He's a bigger male. And that's what Jovonnta see him, a big male, and that's who the Trigger Happy Cop is talking to. They're talking. Tall Cop is just standing. He's with them, but he's just standing on the side. So it tells me that he doesn't know who this person that the Trigger Happy Cop is talking to. So they're talking. Part 2 next.